Good morning, students. Today we'll discuss about the new topic, which includes fuels again. The fuels having properties, different properties, the physical and chemical properties. Because the in this topic we'll discuss about the properties, chemical and physical properties of fuel. Yesterday we had discussed about the different types of fuels, solid fuel, liquid fuels, and gaseous fuels. Today we'll discuss about the physical and chemical properties of fuel. So first of all, we'll discuss about contents of the today's session. First about the properties of coal, chemical composition of coal, analysis of coal, proximate analysis, ultimate analysis, properties of gaseous fuel, principle of combustion, three temperature of combustion, stoichiometric combustion. The first we discuss about the first slide, the properties of coal. Coal is nothing but the solid fuels, in which what happens, they are divided into three parts: anthracite, bituminous, and lignite. And apart from that, again divided into two parts: semi-bituminous and sub-bituminous. And the anthracite is the oldest type of coal, and this is the in practically it contains the some water particles, some moisture is there. Lignite is the youngest coal from geological background, and it is a small soft coal composed of mainly of volatile matter, moisture content with low fixed carbon. Fixed carbon will refer that carbon in its free state, not combined with other elements. Volatile matters refers to those combustible constituents of the coal that vaporize when the coal is heated. That means when the coal is heated, that time such type of situations known as the volatile matter. And the fixed carbon, that the carbon is in free state, that you can consider as the fixed carbon. The chemical composition of the coal has a strong influence on its combustibility, and the properties of coal are broadly classified physical properties and chemical properties. That is, mostly the main properties are physical properties and chemical properties of coal we have to discuss here. The first one, discuss the physical property. The physical property, the calorific value, the heating value. The heating value of coal varies from coal field to the coal field. The typical GCV for the various coals are given below. There are gross calorific value for different types of various types of coal. The parameter, this one, and lignite, Indian coal, Indonesian coal, South African coal. This is the gross calorific value given in the table. The gross calorific value lignite on receive the 2000, 2500 and 3000 in the range of these one. This is the calorific value scenario for the coal. Then discuss about the another slide, the analysis of coal. How to analyze the coal? Because the coal has different types of materials, it has different types of um, contents are there. So discuss about the analysis of coal. It has divided into two parts. The two methods are employed to find out the coal analysis. The ultimate analysis determines all coal component contents, solid or gaseous, and proximate analysis determines only the fixed carbon, volatile matter, moisture, and ash percentage. That means in this case what happens, in this case ultimate analysis is the one of the method of to analyze the coal, the only determines the fixed carbon, determine the fixed carbon, volatile matter, moisture content, ash percentage in the coal. And then that means the coal contain in such a types of percentage in the any coal, the carbon is present, matter is present, moisture is present, ash is present. And in case of ultimate analysis, determined properly equipped laboratory by skilled chemist. It is ultimate analysis is a required a skilled person, skilled employee. While the proximate analysis can be driven with a simple apparatus. It is not necessary that special type of equipments are used to find out the quality. But in case of ultimate, it requires the skilled person, skilled chemist employee. Then how to determine the coal analysis? The first discuss about the measurement of moisture. How to determine the moisture? Because there are the 4 points: fixed carbon, volatile matter, moisture. And these 4 points to be discussed, and to have to find out the measurement of this material in the coal analysis. First one, determination of the moisture. How to find out? Determination of moisture is carried out by placing a sample of powdered raw coal of size 200 micron size in uncovered crucible. It is placed in the oven kept 108 plus 2 degrees Celsius along with the lid. Then the sample is cooled to room temperature and weight. Again, the loss in weight represents the moisture. What is happening? Suppose consider moisture content. You have to taken the one, look at a pot, and in pot you have to place the coal, and that sample you have to heat it at a 10 degrees Celsius, and after some time it has to be cool at room temperature, and then you have to wait. before before eating and after eating. And you have to consider the loss of weight represents the moisture content in the food. That means you have to heating process is involved in this case and how to find the moisture content. Then second parameter, the measurement of volatile matter. How to determine? A fresh sample whose coal is weight placed in the cover crucible heated in the furnace 900 degrees Celsius for the methodologies including that carbon ash refers to these standards. The sample is cool and weight. Loss of weight represents the moisture and volatile. The remainder is cool, fixed carbon ash. Again, in the measurement of volatile matter, the sample is heated to 900 degrees Celsius. In the moisture content 108, in case of volatile 900 degrees Celsius, again the same procedure has been repeated and you will get the loss of weight within the moisture and volatile matter. The remaining portion is considered as a cool, a fixed carbon and ash. Then next consider measurement of the carbon and ash. How to determine carbon and ash? The cover from the crucible used in the last test is removed and the crucible is heated over the recent burner until all carbon is burned. The residue is weight and which is the incombustible ash. The difference in weight from the previous weighting is fixed carbon. In actual practice, fixed carbon or FC derived from subtracting from 100 the value of moisture, volatile matter and ash. That means how to define the carbon and ash? That is, first of all, again you have to take this. First of all, you have to burning of fuel takes place, and then ash is present, and then you have to ash. You have to combustible. The ash is generated by the combustion, and that ash has to be subtracting from the 100 from the value of moisture and volatile matter and ash, and will get the result of carbon ash. That will combustion of fuel takes place in this case. After that, you have to start this process. Then discuss about the next slide, proximate analysis. So what do you mean by proximate analysis? What is the use? What is the significance of that one? The proximate analysis indicates percentage by weight of the fixed carbon, volatile, ash and moisture content in coal. That means you have to only determine the what are the coal is consist of the many elements. And in the coal, what are the percentage of carbon? What are the percentage of fixed carbon? What are the percentage of volatile matter? Ash, moisture content. And all percentage to be determined to indicate the proximate analysis of coal. The amount of fixed carbon, volatile combustible matter directly contribute to the heating value of the coal. That means whenever you have to find out the any calorific value, that means depending upon the amount of fixed carbon and amount of volatile combustible matter directly connected to the heating value, that is the calorific value of coal. Then fixed carbon acts as a main generator during burning. That is, fixed carbon is very important the parameter in the proximate analysis during burning, that is during combustion. The high volatile matter content indicates the easy ignition of fuel. That means suppose consider coal having a property fixed carbon, that depending upon the percentage of volatile matter will indicates the how to ignite the fuel at which time it represents. That the high volatile matter content indicates the easy ignition of fuel. The ash content is important in the design of furnace, gate, combustion volume, pollution control equipment, and ash handling system of the furnace. Again, the same condition. The ash content is also important in the design of the furnace because combustion takes place in the furnace. Therefore, design is very important. Therefore, you have to collect the ash from that one is another parameter because the ash handling is also big problem in the furnace. Then discuss about the significance of the various parameters in the proximate analysis. We already discussed about the 4 points. Again, your detailed discussion is given in this. What is the importance of that 4 points? One is the fixed carbon. The fixed carbon is a solid fuel left in the furnace after volatile matter is distilled off, and it consists mostly of the carbon, but it also contains some hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur. Nitrogen are not driven with the gases. The fixed carbon gives the rough estimation of heating value of coal. That means suppose we consider the combustion takes place. Combustion takes place and the fixed carbon is solid is left in the furnace after the volatile matter is distilled off. So what happens? In that case, the fixed carbon indicates the heating value of the coal. And then discuss the volatile matter. The volatile matter are the methane, hydrocarbon, hydrogen and carbon monoxide, incombustible gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen found in the coal. Because when the after combustion of coal, what gases are generated? Carbon dioxide, nitrogen gases generated, and thus volatile matter is an index of the gaseous fuel present. That means how much amount of volatile matter is present. It indicates the how much amount of exhaust gases generated. It indicates first. Therefore, how much amount of gases generated depends upon the volatile matter. The typical range of volatile matter is 20 to 35%. Normally, 20 to 35% volatile matter is considered. Volatile matter having some properties proportionality increases the flame strength. What happens? It increases this matter, increases the flame strength, flame length, that is the during combustion, and helps in the easier ignition of, that is ignition process. How to the rapid ignition of combustion takes place. That is the important point. Water matter. Set minimum limit for furnace height and volume. Influences the secondary air requirement distribution aspect. Influences the secondary oil support. That means the volatile matter indirectly, indirect or directly is connected to the ignition of the fuel. Ignition of fuel depends upon the volatile matter. The next point is about the ash content. What is the importance? The ash is an impurity that will not burn. That means after combustion, the carbon is combined with the oxygen, and we have to generate the different types of gases. It's a gases, but ash content is not uh, is not it, ash content is not have a different ash contains impurity. Is not it is not having oxygen to again burn. The ash is an impurity that will not burn. The typical range is 5 to 40% ash. Reduces the handling and burning capacity, increases the handling cost, affects combustion efficiency. That is, the ash content directly affects the combustion efficiency and burn efficiency. It causes slagging, it causes clinging, moisture content. Then discover the moisture content. The moisture in the coal must be transported, handled, and stored. Since it replaces combustible matter, it decreases the heat content per kg of coal, typical range 0.5 to 10%. What happens if you are considering the moisture content? The moisture content reduces the efficiency also, decreases the heat value, therefore increases the heat loss due to evaporation, separating of vapor, helps to limit in binding fines, and helps radiation heat transfer. That means moisture content also important. This analysis, proximate analysis of coal. Then this was the sulfur content. What are the sulfur content should be present in the coal? 0.5 to 0.8% normally present, and it affects lingering and clagging tendencies and corrode the chimneys and other equipment such as the air heater and economizer, and limit exit flue air gas temperature. That such type of this is that with the sulfur content should be low. Its minimum sulfur content is required because it is corrodes the chimney. It and destroy the equipments, air heater and economizer, and degrade the flue gases temperature. Then next topic we discuss here the ultimate analysis. So what do you mean by ultimate analysis? The ultimate analysis of coal indicate the various elemental chemical constituents such as the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur. These are the chemical composition. It is useful to determine the quantity of air required for the combustion and the volume and composition of the combustible gases. Let us see. Ultimate analysis it is indication how much amount of air is required for the combustion, what is the composition of combustion gases, and volume. Before going to ultimate analysis, we are discussing the proximate analysis. The proximate analysis, they indicate the ignition quality of the fuel. But in this case, what happens? How much amount of air is required to for combustion process, and then this information is required for calculation of flame temperature and flue duct design. It also important for the calculation of flame temperature and flue duct design. It also important. That is how much amount of air is required. Storage, handling, and preparation of coal. Availability and transportation of fuel necessitate the storage and supplementary handling. The main goal of the good coal storage is to minimize carpet loss due to spontaneous combustion. That means storage of coal is also important part because the good storage is to minimize the carpet loss and loss due to spontaneous combustion. It avoids the spontaneous combustion. Then discuss about the formation of soft carpet comprising of the coal, dust, soil causes the carpet loss. On the other hand, gradual temperature builds up in a coal heap on account of oxidation may lead to spontaneous combustion of coal in the storage. And there are some measures are there. The measures that would help in reducing the carpet loss are as follows. First one, preparing a hard ground for coal to be checked, stack upon. There is the preparing hard ground for the coal, the first one. Second, preparing the standard storage beds out of the concrete brick. This is the standard storage bed out of concrete and brick. In process of industry mode of coal handling ranging from manual to conveyor system, it would be advisable to minimize the handling of coal so that a further generation of fines and segregation effects are reduced. Again, it's very important minimizing the handling of coal is a major parameter. Then discussion about preparation of coal. How to prepare coal? The preparation of coal prior to feeding into the boiler is the important step for achieving the good combustion. Large and irregular lumps and inadequate furnace temperature. That is, the preparation of coal is very important because we want the heat. We want the heat. The boiler requires the coal for burning. The combustion takes place in the boiler. Therefore, preparation of coal is very important. And then higher of coal may causes the following problems. But if the higher of coal may cause the following problems, the poor combustion condition excess air result in the highest stack loss, increase of unburned in ash, low thermal efficiency. If the coal has not a good percentage of carbon hydrogen, it has the quality, good quality of coal is very important. If the quality of coal is very bad, the quality of coal is not sufficient to burn, that time it affects various problems created. That is the first problem, the combustion efficiency, thermal efficiency, unburned gases generated in the ash. That means quality of coal should be superior for complete combustion. Then discuss about the sizing of coal. Sizing of coal means the proper coal sizing is one of the key measures to ensure the efficient combustion. That is combustion. For better combustion, it requires the proper sizing of coal is important because to ensure the efficient combustion. Proper coal sizing with specific relevance to the type of firing system helps towards even burning, reduce ash losses. Very important point. Better combustion efficiency. Better combustion efficiency. Coal is reduced is rise by crushing and pulverizing the sea. This helps to reduce power consumption in the crusher. Recommended practice in coal crushing are incorporating incorporation of screen to separate fines and small particles to avoid the extra fine generation crushing. The second, incorporation of the magnetic separator to separate iron pieces in coal which may damage the crusher. That means the sizing of coal is very important for the better combustion, for complete combustion of fuel. Then discussion of the conditioning of coal. What do you mean by conditioning of coal? Condition these fines in the coal present problem combustion account of segregation effects. Segregation of fines from larger coal species can be reduced to a great extent by conditioning coal with the water. That means conditioning with the water is very important in this case. Water helps fine particles to stick the bigger clumps due to surface tension of the moisture. Surface tension of moisture, first one. Thus stopping fines from falling through the gate bars or being carried away by the furnace draught. If the percentage of fines in the coal is very high, if the percentage of fines in the coal is very high, wetting of coal can decrease the percentage of unburned carbon and excess air level required to supply for combustion. That is, wetting of coal can decrease the percentage of unburned carbon and excess air needed required to supply the for the combustion. It is very important because the conditioning of coal to be checked before entering into the boiler section, furnace section. Then next parameter discuss about blending of the blending of coal means in case of coal lots having excessive fines, it is advisable to blend the predominantly lump coal with the lots containing excessive fines. Coal blending may thus help to limit the extent fines in coal being fired to not more than 25%. This is very important. Not more than 25%, and helps to supply the uniform coal feed to the boiler. The blending of different qualities of coal may also help to supply a uniform coal feeder to the boiler. This is the discussion about the ultimate and toxin analysis of the coal. Then we discuss about the properties of gaseous fuel. So what is the gaseous fuels? We have already discussed about we discussed about the liquid fuels, solid fuels. Today we discuss about the properties of gaseous fuel. The gaseous fuels commonly use the LPG, liquefied petroleum gases, natural gases, producer gases, blast furnace gases, coke oven gases. So it's about calorific value. The calorific value utilizes the heat content of the water vapor. Gross calorific value is of the little interest. Fuel should be compared based on the net calorific value. Fuel should compare based on the net calorific value. This is especially true for the natural gas since the increased hydrogen contain high water formation during the combustion. This is a very important point. And this is LPG. LPG means the predominant mixture of propane and butane with a small percentage of unsaturated propylene or butylene and some lighter C2 as well as heavier C5 fractions. Included in the LPG range are propane C3H8, propylene C3H6, normal and butane, isobutane, butylene. LPG may be defined those hydrocarbons which has gaseous normal atmospheric pressure but may be the condensed to the liquid state at a normal temperature by the application of moderate pressure. That means this is the hydrocarbon which are gas at normal atmospheric pressure. You have to consider. Then discuss about the natural gases. Natural gases are the methane is the main component and for about 95% total volume. Other compounds are ethane, propane, butane, pentane, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, traces of other gases. Very small amounts of sulfur compounds are also present. Very small amounts of sulfur compounds are also present. Natural gas high calorific value. Fuel required no storage facility. It mixes with air readily and does not produce smoke or soot. It has no sulfur content. It is higher than air and dispersed into the air. This is the main properties of gas fuels while LPG, CNG and gaseous fuels and calorific value. Discussion about this one, all 4 points. Then discuss about the another point, combustion process. So what do you mean by combustion? Combustion, we already discussed that we have some simple combustion means instead we discuss about the combustion process that with any fuel reacts with the combines with the oxygen in the presence of catalyst. We have discussed we have to generate the exhaust gases. Then we discuss the principle of combustion. The principle of combustion means the combustion with the rapid oxidation of fuel. That is the rapid oxidation. The fuel is burned in the atmospheric air. It is accompanied by the production of heat or light. That is the generation of heat. Generation of light. Complete combustion of fuel is possibly only the presence of adequate supply of oxygen. That is the required quantity of air is required. If the fuel not getting the required quantity of air, it is very difficult to oxidize the fuel because fuel wants oxygen to oxidize for oxidation process, complete oxidation. If the air supply is not sufficient, that means fuel not burn easily. Incomplete combustion takes place. Therefore, adequate supply of oxygen is required. The oxygen, one of the most common element of the earth, making up 20.9% of our air. That is the in air, 20.9% of oxygen is present. The rapid fuel oxidation results in the large amount of heat. Rapid fuel oxidation results in a large amount of heat. Solid or liquid fuel must be changed to gas before they will burn. And it's usually heat is required to change the liquid and solid fuel together. That is, the heat is required to change the phase from liquid solid into gases. Then next point, fuel gases. Fuel gases will burn in their normal state if the enough air is present. Most of the 79% of air that is not oxygen is nitrogen. 79% of nitrogen and 20.9 that is 21% oxygen is needed for the combustion. With traces of other element, nitrogen is considered to be temperature reducing that must be present to obtain the oxygen required for the combustion. Next point, nitrogen reduces the combustion efficiency. It's a very important point. Nitrogen reduces the combustion efficiency by absorbing the heat from the combustion of fuel and diluting the flue gases. That means when the combustion takes place, what happens? That nitrogen is present in the carbon, but when the fuel is react with the flue gases and it generate the another point NOx is generated, and this reduces the heat available for transfer through the heat exchanger surface. It also increases the volume of combustion by products. It increases the volume of combustion product. It's very important. It increases the volume of combustion product. which have to be traveled through the heat exchanger and up the stack faster to allow the introduction of additional fuel air mixture. Next point, under certain conditions, the carbon may also combine with the oxygen to form the carbon monoxide, which results in the release of smaller quantity of heat. Carbon burned to CO2 will produce more heat per pound of fuel when CO or smoke are generated or produced. The C plus O2 CO2 and 8084 kilocalorie kg of carbon energy generated. This is the energy generated, heat generated. 2 plus the carbon combines with the oxygen, 2CO, 2430 kilocalorie generated. Then 2H2 plus O2, 2H2O plus 28,922 kilocalorie energy generated. S plus O2 into SO2 plus 2,224 kilocalories per kg of energy generated. That means whenever the carbon or hydrogen sulfur combines with the oxygen, oxidation takes place, the large amount of heat is generated. These four equations indicate the large amount of heat generated. And then discuss the next point, the discussion of the next slide, 3T of the combustion. That means the combustion is of different types, three temperatures of combustion. So what is the first of all we discussed about what is the function of combustion, what is the combustion, what is the objective of good combustion. The objective of good combustion is to release all of the heat in the fuel. That is the wherever the fuel is react with the oxygen, you have to generate the heat. That means main important point of the good combustion to generate the heat, which is present in the fuel. That solid, liquid converted to the gaseous. And this is accomplished by the controlling the three T's of the combustion. First one, temperature high enough to ignite and maintain the ignition of the fuel. That is that increase the temperature of ignition and maintain the ignition of the ignition temperature of fuel. The turbulence or intimate mixing of fuel and oxygen. Turbulence to be maintained. The next, time sufficient for complete combustion. That is, for complete combustion, it requires the time 1 hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. So you have to give the time, sufficient time for complete combustion. Then we have discussed some point. Commonly used fuels are natural gas, propane generally consists of the carbon and hydrogen. Water vapor is the byproduct of the burning of hydrogen. Then discuss about the more heat will be carried away by the exhaust while the firing the natural gases. Then too much or too little fuel with the available combustion air may be potential result in unburned fuel and carbon monoxide generation. If the air is not providing sufficiently, that time what happens, the carbon monoxide generated. A very specific amount of O2 is needed for perfect combustion. Some additional air is required for ensuring the complete combustion. However, too much excess air will result in the heat and efficiency losses. If you are supplying the more air, what happens? Complete combustion takes place, no problem. And whenever the excess air is supplied, there is no use of oxygen. That means you have to reduce the heat losses and efficiency. The main thing. Then the last point, not all the heat, not all of the heat in the fuel are converted into the heat absorbed by the steam generation equipment. Usually all of the hydrogen in the fuel is burned and most boiler fuel allowable with the today's air pollution standards contain a little or no sulfur. So the main challenges in the combustion efficiency is directed toward the unburned carbon in ash or incompletely burned gases which form CO instead of CO. That means whenever the fuel combines with the oxygen to generate CO2, and CO2 is useful for the photosynthesis process. If the air is not sufficient to combine to burn the fuel completely, that means to generate carbon monoxide, and which is very dangerous to health and environment. And then discuss about the last slide, the psychometric combustion. What is the meaning of psychometric combustion? The combustion already discussed about this. The fuel combustion, the fuel combines with the oxygen to generate the heat, a large amount of heat. Complete combustion takes place to combustion. But what is the meaning of stoichiometric combustion? The efficiency of boiler or furnace depends upon the efficiency of combustion system. Whenever you provide the coal to the boiler furnace to heat the water to generate the steam, that time stoichiometric combustion, that means to improve the efficiency and boiler furnace depends upon the efficiency of the combustion system. The amount of air required for complete combustion of the fuel depends on the elementary constitution of the fuel, that is the carbon, hydrogen, sulfur. And this is amount of air is called stoichiometric air. That means important while combustion process, the percentage of carbon, hydrogen and sulfur. And these three components are very important. And an amount of air is required to combine the hydrogen, to combine the carbon, to combine the sulfur to generate the gases, and which is not, and the generate the gas which is useful for the photosynthesis or heat generated. There's such a amount of air. The minimum air is required for a complete combustion is known as the stoichiometric air. For ideal combustion process of burning 1 kg of fuel containing 86% of carbon, 12% hydrogen, 2% sulfur, theoretically required quantity of air 40.1 kg. That means this is the one scientist has been experimented the how much amount of air is required. The 14.1 kg of air is required for the complete combustion of carbon 86%, hydrogen 12%, and 2% of sulfur. And this is the standard values for this. And the last point, this is the minimum air that would be required if mixing of fuel and air burner and combustion is perfect. Combustion products are primarily carbon dioxide, water vapor, sulfur dioxide, and which pass through the chimney along with the nitrogen in the air. That means the stoichiometric combustion means minimum air is required to generate, minimum air is required to combine with the carbon, hydrogen, and sulfur to generate the gases to generate the heat, and that gases passing through the chimney to the atmospheric again. That is the minimum air is required for complete combustion is nothing but the stoichiometric combustion. Today we will discuss the various points. In point, what is the points? In today's session we discuss about the properties of coal, chemical composition of coal, analysis of coal, that is the proximate analysis and alpha analysis, properties of gaseous fuel, and combustion. The combustion process, principle of combustion, 3 T's of combustion, stoichiometric combustion. Overall, we discuss about how much amount of air is required for complete combustion. And this is the end of the today's session.